Hello again. Welcome back to Billy Ho Sports. Continuing coverage. It's Jockey Club Gold Cup week. This episode, we're jumping over to Saturday. We're going to do the late pick 5, races 9 through 13. That includes the Flower Bowl, the big race of the day there. Be sure to give a look to other great content this week. And I'll be releasing the Jockey Club Gold Cup will be out. Pacific Classic at Del Mar's coming out. I got a late pick 5 at Del Mar Saturday as well, in addition to this one. So thank you so much for joining me today. Viewer support, always very important to me, keeps me going. And please be sure to subscribe to the channel. Clicking that like button. Of course, comments are always encouraged and more than welcome. So let's get into it, shall we? We begin with race number 9, mile and a 16th on the inner turf, allowance 110K. And we got to start off with number 1, McCullough. Maybe get some value on that horse for Chad Brown, but it is Saratoga, Chad Brown and turf. So, it's probably going to be an include for me. On paper, he's below some of the top tier horses in this one, but I like the win off the 4-month break here. And the first on turf, so he's going to have him fired up and ready to go for the next outing. So that one looks pretty good there. And the next one that sparked my interest, not really much on Fly Right, Ramblin' Wreck. I had a little interest in, but didn't make the ticket. St. Joe Louis, I passed on as well. But Unleash the Power, obviously, is going to be on the ticket. Was not winning at 127K. You can see these allowance races, just missed by a neck. So they dropped him down to the 35K OOC, and he got it done, got the closeout, going a mile on the inner turf at Saratoga. That's good to see. So Unleash the Power is definitely the number 1 prime power, top contender. So we're going to be using that one. And he did need a pretty good move by Joel Rosario in stretch to get up from an inside gap there. So good job by Joel getting it done for him. Rallied up as the 6-5 favorite. The next one up that I'm going to have some interest in is going to be not Barrage, not O Captain, Victor's Valiant. That's the one, Jorge Abreu. And Jose Lescano was off the turf in the last one, so I'm going to toss that one, beaten by 5th by 10. Previous to that, 2nd by 1, 1 by a neck, 2nd by a nose, all in sort of in the range of this class on the turf. So really good-looking horse. If you're one of those handicapping 101 types that only look at the very last race and go, well, he wasn't any good. He lost by 10 lengths. Don't do that. Look for the right conditions. This race is a mile and a 16th and on the inner turf at Saratoga. So you have this one at a mile and an 1/8 and was in the lead in the stretch. So that fits this. So you can look 2 back right here. And if he has this kind of form right here, he's going to be in real, real good shape. So Victor's Valiant going on the ticket. The next one, I think for Mike Maker is Sam Baru, I suppose. Mike Maker, Luis Saez. Good looking one there. 4th, but beaten only 2 lengths here in the last one at 110K. 2nd to Battle of Normandy, and previous to that, Battle of Normandy won his next out after that, and that's always a solid effort. So that's kind of like exiting a key race, so to speak. I like the connections, so we're going to go with that. And running back right again, post number 10, Laurel Valley is Mike Maker once again. IRAD, you got to like the jockey trainer combo there. Was not very good on the inner turf last out, but does have good early speed and did wire them 2 back for 95K in that starter allowance. So I think the ability is there, so you don't want to leave them out. FYI, there was rain in the forecast. Full disclosure, I haven't checked the weather recently, but there were heavy thunderstorms on tap for Saturday afternoon, which could be dangerous. So keep an eye on that very carefully. And then you start looking at some of these main track onlys that are coming down the pike. And number 11, Summer Cause, ran in the Peter Pan last year, returned to an 8th place finish, first back, beaten 14 lengths, but the top 3 all won their next race. That was Ben Doog. I remember that one. I had that exacta. So that was a really, really strong allowance race for the first back. And then you have Own the Field, which is another good-looking horse. One last out, too. So those 2 are interesting if it is pulled off of the turf. But we're going to play it like it's going to be on the turf because I think we're going to miss this rain. We're just going to cross our fingers and hope for it. So let's go ahead and make some selections here. We're going to go with 1, 5, and then 8 through 10. All the horses we just discussed. Number 1, number 5, 8, 9, and 10 is going to be leg 1 of our pick 5. So let's jump over to the Prioris, race number 10. That's going to be 6 furlongs on the dirt for 3-year-old fillies. And that's number 1, Musea. I'm not really sure, but getting IRAD and the inside post winning at 19% clip is an interesting one. Gustavo Delgado trains. So probably got a shot. Then you got number 4, Bell's Bluebell, who won 2 back. But that one I don't think is going to make the ticket. Tried the grade 1 test, was not good on the muddy track, which actually I look a lot at this. I mean, it's 25% mud and just 106 mud starts, which would indicate this horse would fare well in the mud. And down here you can see in the other 2 starts was god-awful. So just maybe it's just one of those exception to the rule kind of things. Bell's Bluebell just doesn't like the slop. So if the weather does come into play, that could definitely matter. So number 7, Too Sharp for Philip Bauer. Looks like the next one up is what I was interested in. Just a really, really great maiden breaking win here by 11, going away at 6.5, flying. Pretty good early speed, and then took it home. I love the balance in that. Nice wire-to-wire win. Early speed is going to help. Hot trainer, Philip Bauer, last 43%. So he's 6 out of 14. That's pretty awesome for Bauer. Now, the next up is actually Bright Work down here. And this one is John Ortiz Luis Saez. And I believe he scratched out of, I'm sorry, this is for fillies. She scratched out last year after running 6th in the BC Juvie. I believe she's been in a couple of spots where they've scratched her, but this is the spot we're going to go with here. First start of 2024. First in Prime Power. You got to put her on the ticket. Probably as far as like quality of horse, pedigree and whatnot, is probably the best. So it really makes this kind of easy. I think we're going to go 2 deep in the leg 2. We're going to go number 7, Too Sharp, number 9, Bright Work to get that done. Moving on to race 11 is the Spin Away. This was 7 furlong, 2-year-old fillies. And after going through this video and looking at everybody, you can see Prime Power, the Queen's MG is just, I looked at Quiet Side, I looked at Bellicose. Both of those look pretty good, but the Queen's MG, when I watched the race that she won, we'll go down here and discuss it really quick here. The Adirondack, and then the Schulerville. So back-to-back stakes victories, really just moving up. The only problem is maybe overcoming the outside post, but I don't think that's going to be a problem for this one. Just really monster early speed figures, 102, 107, and didn't need anything going home. So running a +11, +12, I think Dylan Davis gets her out fast again. Saffie Joseph Jr. is a whiz with the 2-year-olds, especially females. So I think this one is your single. So we're just not even going to discuss anybody else. Like I said, I did look at Bellicose and Quiet Side, but I feel confident in the single for leg 3. So we're going to go over to hit race 12, which is the Flower Bowl, the feature race on the card. That's a mile and 3/8 on the inner turf. And that's for fillies and mares, 4 years up. And we're looking at Warlike Goddess from Bill Mott, won last out, finished a solid third in the Grade 1 New York. Closing, just probably got a little bit too far back from the field. Behind Didia and Nisi Marie. Let's see, this is start 3 should yield more positive results, I think. Start 3 of 2024 and coming off a little freshening too, 55 days off. So Warlike Goddess probably going on the card. Number 3, Parnack ran this one actually is an interesting horse. Parnack is Christopher Clement, Dylan Davis. Ran a really quality second place finish behind McCulloch. And in the Glen Falls Grade 2 event, 21-1. So that was going 12 furlongs on the good turf. So a slight cutback. I always like that. Should be considered as the 5-year-old mare actually defeated McCulloch last year to win the Flower Bowl. So I'm going to have that one. I also like number 4, Eternal Hope for the Go Dolphins stables. Charlie Appleby, Manny Franco. So Charlie Appleby, any horse that Charlie Appleby brings over and puts on the turf is going to be a dangerous horse. So this one came over last year, ran over at Aqueduct for a couple, won back-to-back races on the turf, and then made its first start on the inner turf at Saratoga, going 1.5 miles, and just probably needed that one. So going to be eligible to improve. Second start since the layoff. That one right there, you can see ran pretty well most of the way and then just didn't have it in the stretch. So probably going to be a little bit fitter coming into this one after about nearly a month of additional work. So that one looks good. And then obviously this one here is interesting. Millie Girl, I'm probably going to pass on, although has some good results and some decent speed figures. So I'm going to pass on that one. And then Nisi Marie, this one came on the scene a little while back at the Bogey graded 3 and snuck up on White Beam and just came flying down the stretch to nail her at the wire. And that was an impressive effort. Then came back and tried the Grade 1 New York and ran really well, second by 1.5 lengths, like I mentioned before, but then fell apart in the Diana and flopped, but made a nice comeback in the Beverly D to finish third. So a horse worth considering for sure. I believe the Grade 2 Beverly D was third behind Moria and Fev Rover, which are 2 really, really good turf females. So number 7 is going to be McCulloch, and that is from the Chad Brown stable, sired by Frankel. Irad Ortiz rides. This is probably going to be my top choice. Definitely the big win in the Glen Falls, getting it done on the Saratoga inner turf, going 1.5 miles and just cutting back slightly to 1 mile and 3/16. So that's always a good thing. A little bit shorter, back-to-back lackluster efforts in the Sheep Shed in New York previous to that. But like I said, she rallied home for the Grade 2 Glen Falls, looked good doing it. I went back and looked at the Dick Memorial that Warlike Goddess won, and Warlike Goddess was really just looked like like you was a golden retriever trying to play fetch around the turn, that just really scurrying, like getting her legs, like she wanted to run so fast her legs couldn't keep up with her. But she was in position, lacked room, steadied at the 8 furlong mark, rallied up for third in the other one previous to that, New York. So the more and more I need to spread out and hope for value here. So your final selections here are going to be number 1, number 3, number 4, number 7, and number 8. So we're going 5 deep in this one. I thought about just singling one like McCulloch, but I don't think that that's going to be the safe move. I think we're going to hope for some value and maybe even get an upset at a price. So we're going to go 5 deep here. And then that takes us to our final race on the tour here, race 13, which is just an optional claimer for $35,000, mile and 16th. on the turf, 3-year-old and up. And so Palace View, the 12 horse, is the top choice. Has been knocking on the door. Let's go down. We'll just go ahead and go on down to this one and start from the bottom and work our way up. Like I said, keep an eye on the main track onlys too, just in case it gets pulled off the turf. Not really sure. I'd say Strapped from Linda Rice would be nice. She's really good in dirt routes, so that one is interesting. I don't think Road Soda as much, so I would probably consider Strapped if it's pulled off the turf. Then you have and also eligible Paddock Pastor if anybody scratches, which is always possible, more likely probable. But you can see all the good high percent trainer jockey for start off the layoff, beating only 1.85 lengths versus similar things of that nature. Adding blinkers, another big one for Palace View. Even though starting on the outside, I don't know how much blinkers is going to be really relevant, but it could make a difference. You never know. Get the gelding more engaged. So Palace View definitely going on the ticket. Now you got number 6 up here. These two, Frontman and Solo Empire, I don't think so. Kick a Buck, I considered. Linda Rice, Jose Lescano, I think is interesting, but I don't think it's going to make the ticket. Our Country, we'll talk about in a minute, but I wanted to get up here and talk about, I'm going to call this J. Hirsch because that's kind of like what the stakes race is named after. So J. Hirsch, third, last out. I had something to say about this, so let me find my spot. Decent speed, fought hard in the stretch in those last race, actually outpaced Palace View, but was not good enough to beat Unleash the Power, who we just previously discussed a couple races back in race 9. That one's going at 110K N1X, so much tougher class than this one. So that's a good sign for, I think, Jay Hirsch to be on the ticket. I did mention number 1, Over and Ollie, moving up in class. Let's go up here and look at Over and Ollie. Moving up in class after a 40K mating claiming win. I watched that race they both ran in. Most recent, Palace View had a great inside trip, got a clean pocket to exploit. And in that particular race, Palace View was the number 5 horse, but failed to get home. Had the trip, everything set up right for the 5 horse to win that race, but didn't get it done. And then that's where I won. That's what brings me to Our Country, because he was in that race as well and was the 11 horse in this optional claimer here, and hit the stretch and just on the inside turn was forced to steady up because there lacked running room, was making his 24 debut, was far back, hit the stretch just 4 lengths back, tried that inside rail hard, but it closed off quickly and he had to quickly steady up, but still finished less than 3 lengths off. So that brings us to the conclusion. Our selections in this one are going to be 8, 9, and 12. So you got Our Country. So I am going to go with Kick a Buck. Linda Rice, Jose Lescano. So 8, 9, and 12 is Palace View. I think actually I'm going to go ahead and call an audible on that, because I think I need to include the number 6, Jay Hirsch, as well. So I probably will end up going 6, 8, 9, 12, go 4 deep on that one. So that's going to do it for the Late Pick 5 on Saturday, August 31st at Saratoga. Lots more coming. Stay tuned, stay engaged, and thanks for watching. See you soon.